Yes, and we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to my business page and another live session. Why digital business? So it's Sadia, and I am the face behind this page. Last year, I started my online business, and the purpose for this page is to inspire people, to educate them. So today is Wednesday, is a midweek. It's actually the last Wednesday of the month. I this year I've been um I've been following these kind of things like the end of every month. I always follow it because time is running so fast. I remember when we entered January, like all of a sudden we are in July, and July is almost about to end. So the reason why I've been following this is because I've made a vision board, right? Like so many people out there, to see by the end of the year what are we going to be able to establish. So I always make a reminder to people out there because sometimes you tend to forget what's your vision board is, and whether you've been able to accomplish at least a fraction of what you've decided to be able to accomplish by the end of the year. So it's almost the end of July. So you guys, if you've made a vision board, I don't know what the vision board is about, but have you been able to accomplish anything? Okay, it is just a reminder. So yeah, today I'm here with another amazing guest. She's a mom, yeah, a mom of amazing children, six of them. So a super mom, that's what I call her. She's by the name Vera, and she's here to tell us a bit about her journey in this amazing business we've started. So without much ado, here she is. Hi, Vera.
Hello. Hi, Sadia. Thank
How
you
do you
for
do?
having me on. It's my
It's always a
pleasure
pleasure.
indeed.
It's
Thank
always,
you.
always pleasure to come here, right? We are so
Thank
excited about this amazing business we've started, and we always want to come here to talk about our journey because it's an amazing one, right?
Yes, it is. Like you said just now, we all have our goals and we all have our plans, in life.
Mhm.
And then one of it is to see how we can succeed in what we are doing.
Yeah.
And as a human being, we can't say we are successful if those that were placed in our care, if they are left behind.
Mhm.
And with this, putting everything together, we see that as a mom, for example, if we happen to to be successful in what we think we are doing, and then if the children and the husband and the home front is kind of left behind, I don't think our success will be it would be that which we actually wanted it to be. So that's one of the reasons that actually brought me into the business, because I felt I was successful as a healthcare worker. I felt a little bit fulfilled at the time, but
Yeah.
until something actually happened to me that reminded me that no, I have to bring all the bags and baggages that I have with me to my success position, for me to be able to to say, okay, holistically, I'm successful.
You know, you raise an amazing topic, an amazing point here because it's true, because sometimes when we focus on our career, it's all about career. We know by the end of the day, we have this career to be able to have a better life, right? We always like
Yeah.
everyone starts a career with the intention of having a better life, but then we forget a very important thing. In our search of a better career, we tend to leave those people behind, husband and children, and we tend not to be there, right? And this is what's one of the reasons why this business is really, really incredible, because you don't have to leave anyone behind. Wherever you go with your business, they can be following you to sacrifice those amazing family time and children and everything. So thank you so much for saying. So since we are artists, can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Okay. Thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to. My name is Vera Ubomo. I am originally from Nigeria, and currently living here in Ireland with my family. I am a healthcare assistant and a mother of six. Um, a wife, of course, and a sister, a cousin, and whatever you can think of, being a lady. That's who I am. And I'm also, a digital business owner. So I am the face behind, Vera Jeffrey Obomo, the digital world on Facebook.
Wow. Thank you so much for the introduction. We already have someone here. Is Michael. Michael is always around. He's just amazing, one of our amazing business partners. He's
Hello, Michael.
Yeah. He's always there to support her. We really appreciate you, Michael. We really appreciate you. Yeah, so what made you decide to start an online business?
Thank you, sister. The thing is, like I said, I felt I was successful at what I was doing until I had an incident where that actually changed my mindset about, what success is, to me. And then that was what actually, drove me into this business. But prior to that, I have been looking at, ways to actually, supplement our income, because at the time when I joined my husband, we had all our children here in Ireland. When I joined my husband, we had one job each. But then as the children started coming in, we're still having the same jobs, almost the same income with a little bit of, increase really. And then we also had, other, a financial commitment, as regards to, somebody who comes from Nigeria. I have to be specific. We're very cultural, oriented people, where we always think of, the society, we think of the family at large. And at some point, this was actually bringing kind of some stress, of some kind, to us. At some point, we tried to say, we were trying to, stick by our own, family, to say, okay, whatever we are earning here, to be honest, whatever we were earning here was okay for us, just okay, like, okay for the bills, okay for the children, and okay for us. But then we couldn't go, beyond that, really. And so when, like I said, when the children started coming in, initially some of them were in the crash, and that's how we were able to manage, our childcare and everything. But the childcare kept increasing as the children increased. So myself and my husband, we sat down, and then we made a decision to have, instead of paying for the childcare, because we're literally working to pay somebody else to take care of our children. We're literally paying someone else to bond with our own children, because and you know how hard, painful that can actually be for any parents,
I know.
So we made the very difficult decision to, I call it difficult, but to me the best decision really for one of us, to take care of the children full time while the other works full time. So we were able to manage that for a little bit of time, but we then saw that we actually needed an extra stream of income, even if it's just like we set our max to say, okay, even if it's just like 1,000 or 2,000 euros per month, coming in, it will, like, we'll be happy. We'll be able to take care of, say any extra things that comes, like it's summer holiday now, then we have to be, the children will have to go to the summer schools and everything. Or if we want to go, take some time to go away, it will be, it will be good as well. And then to also support other people who will be, who would actually need, who will need our assistance.
Yeah.
So we started looking, and we came up with the idea of having something back home, like, like a traditional business back home.
Yeah.
But that did not survive for long because it needed our time. And then we are still having the same expenses. So it was actually, a loss in the long run. Yeah. So we came back, and then we came back to the table to think of what we can actually do. And then I suggested to my husband that it could be, digital business. And what my idea of the digital business was at the time was, to do a buying and selling online, because I love that. I love the buying and selling of a thing anyway. So we started it. I personally started it anyway. And then there was it wasn't what I was actually looking for at the time, because I didn't belong to the right, group at the time. So because they kind of just, give us, the materials to work with, and you are left alone on your own. There is
Yeah.
nobody to guide you. There is, and sometimes even when you kind of, ask for help, you don't really get it as much, because you might ask for help today, and you might not get the answer, to what you want, for a few more days, or even sometimes up to a week or more, or you may not even get, any answer at all. So eventually, I was working, but at the same time, I had a little bit of accident at work that I had to stay at home. And during this time, I got the time to really, be able to look at my phone. Sometimes I used it as a way of, whiling away time, or kind of, taking my mind away from the pain. And then this ad actually came up on my news feed. And then what happened was, this was actually different from every other, ad that I've actually seen.
Yeah.
It was different from, definitely 100% different from what I had, knowledge of before. So
Yeah.
and it was an ad that just invited me to watch a free webinar. So I clicked on it and asked for more information. And then when I did, the lady who is now my mentor, sent me the link to watch the free webinar. And then I watched it. And eventually I knew straight away that that business was for me, because of what I saw and what I heard, because it was a live webinar. It was, I saw people who have become very successful in the business. I saw people who were also, at my level, like, who were newbies as well. I also saw intending newbies. And I also saw, people of different level, different
Yeah.
colors, different,
Of course.
nationalities, different locations. And I said, and there was just something that, that overwhelmed me. It was the support that was being given to, individuals,
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, I give this a try. And the truth is, we cannot just keep on, thinking our situation will change if we take no action. So I said, I'll give this a try and see. And then I bought in. And then after that, I took a little bit of time, to make sure, because I was very, like I said, I was skeptical. I just wanted to make sure that this was it. And then that's, at the time, it was, I think, the membership fee was different from what it is at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so yeah, so I bought into it. I joined the Facebook, group, and
Yeah.
one of the things that blew my mind was, one, it was the amount of people, people on business owners or business people on that group.
Yeah.
You would know yourself, like, if something is real, you will know from the
Yeah. Of
beginning, if
course.
you
Of
have
course.
a very good
Yeah.
instinct. So I saw that, and that's, like I said, that is history now, because I keep on, saying to my friends, family, and even on my page, that's one thing I keep saying, that one thing, I am not where I want to be today, but I know that it was the best decision that I ever made for my family. And the fact that I now have this digital business, it has actually helped me a lot in so many ways. And yeah, so that's it.
Wow, that is the longest why I've ever heard, but it was worth listening to every single word. And you are
Thank
right.
you.
Like these days, especially if you are working 9 to 5, okay, maybe you were working before you started family, right? You have
Oh, yes,
family, then family keep on increasing, because when family increases, expenses increases, okay, and
definitely. Yeah.
your bosses will not think, oh my God, these people, their family are increasing, so let's also increase their. It's just, I don't know how, why it is how it is, but it is pretty bad, because family will keep on increasing, and then the salary will be the same, and people just manage, okay, getting by.
Mm.
It's quite unfortunate, and of course, when it happens this way, you always want to think of something that you can do on the side, And I know, so there are so many people that have also tried doing something back home, you know. But if you don't have someone very, very business minded, someone that has the fear of God to stand on what you've left back home to build this, it's always going to be, by the end of the year, you're going to lose the money. So I'm sorry you had to go through this, and your family is quite large. I mean, you really, really need an that is extra source. And I'm glad you came across this business, because this is the best one. There isn't any other business out there than this one. And I know you said earlier that you haven't reached where you are going. Absolutely, I know you haven't reached where you are going, but I mean, just the joy of doing this business, you know, being able to do what you love doing, at the same time having a business. Okay, right now you are home, your children are there, you can hear their voices in the background, and you are working. Isn't it amazing? I mean,
It is
not
just,
amazing,
it is, yeah,
it's
it
just
is so,
incredible.
so beautiful, yeah. And
It's just
the fact that I'll quickly check this in now. The truth is, when I actually got into the business, even though it was initially me and my husband's, idea, but at
yeah,
some point he became very, very skeptical that that actually delayed me, making the decision or going further in the business. But the truth is, I attended, I started attending, mastermind, but it started seeing some changes in me, personally.
you personally, even before
Yeah,
you start the business,
yeah,
right?
yeah. He started seeing these changes in me, and then he was looking, and then eventually when he saw, one day I actually made him, attend the mastermind with me.
Yeah,
Okay. And I think that's what, actually, broke the, that was my
the idea.
breakthrough, in trying to, get him to support me because I needed that.
Yeah, of course.
And I'd say today, he's the one who is, kind of encouraging me. Sometimes he's my timekeeper. Do
Yeah,
you have, you have the meeting, go on now and take care. I'll take care of the kids while,
isn't
you do this,
isn't it
you
amazing?
know.
I mean, something like this, I have goosebumps just thinking. And I understand about the skeptical thing, because like I also had a skeptical husband. When I started before, then he was like, oh my god, are you sure it's true? Are you sure this? Are you sure that? And right now he's seeing the changes as well. So it's like that. So we have Michael, who said, um I appreciate you all, amazing business leaders. Keep up the good way. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
We are trying to change the world. This is our purpose, right? To change the world, because we know there is something much, much better than what we used to believe. And if we don't come out here and talk about it, like, people will not know. So this is our
No, that's the
purpose.
thing. Yeah.
This is the purpose, because I think it feels amazing knowing that because of you, someone has been able to change their life, able to know joy and happiness. Like, the feeling is just incredible. So
Yeah.
we have Mavis, who is also watching from the UK. Mavis, thank you so much. And she actually says she's enjoying this. Thank you for appreciating.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you for joining us. So, can you tell me something you love about this business? Because God, if I'm going to talk about what I love about this business, I think I'm going to talk the whole day. So, can you say something?
Absolutely. The thing is, if I should, give you the list of what I love about this business, we would have so many. We'll probably be writing up a very big book.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I love about the business, which I mentioned briefly before, was is the fact that is the support that we actually get from each other.
Yeah.
Because I have actually been a business person before, and I'm in a traditional physical business. And I've also had, like I said, an experience of being in a different group, online and digital group, where it's a different thing. But the support that we kind of get from our own group, it's a business partner from all over the world, and that means it's so overwhelming that
it is.
You are just bound to become successful. You are bound to to stay put in the business and be focused, and then be and then succeed eventually. Because like take for example, you are from you are living in Italy, originally from where?
From Ghana, yeah.
Okay. And here am I, okay, and then we are doing the same business, kind of supporting each other and encouraging each other, trying to to bring people into
Yeah.
into the know, to know that there's something like this, going on in the world.
Yes.
Like parents do not have to really, suffer. Because
Yeah.
honestly, I'm sorry to use that word. That's what it is.
Of
Because
course, it
imagine
is.
you are there at work and your kids are somewhere,
Suffering. I
so you
know.
can't to me it's some kind of a pain that you actually go
No,
through,
it
but
is an emotional torture. You torture yourself
it
emotionally.
is really. And then so that the one thing that I actually love about the business is the support, from a business partner from all over the
Yeah.
world. And that means as we're talking now, I can actually just pick up my phone, pick up my laptop, or pick up my the desktop, and then chat up with any of my business partner with any challenges that I may be having. And then they would just genuinely, you will have influx of of support from all over, that you'll be overwhelmed sometimes. So
Yes.
it's something. And there's another thing that I love about this business is the fact that there is no selling.
No.
There is no selling in this business.
Yeah.
And to me, as um, a digital business owner who has actually experienced other kind of digital businesses before, that is a top notch for us. Because
Yes.
imagine I do not have to to bother those around me. I do not have to succeed in this business through through the patronage of the people that I know.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. And
Yes.
another thing again is, apart from all the support, all the tools and everything that we have in place in this business, is the fact that we have different streams at the moment, 5 streams
Yeah.
of income.
Yeah.
So like I said initially, when we're looking for something small to add up to the month's income, so that at least to be able to survive until the next month.
Of
But now
course.
to have 5 streams of
There's
income,
something. Yeah.
that is that's just simply
Yeah.
amazing.
It is.
And then so that's another thing. And then the fact that we actually here we are here, not just thinking about, like I said before, we're just thinking about something to help us go by through the month. But right now it has actually turned into a lifetime
Yeah.
investment.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what
So,
it is.
in other words, this business should I, God forbid, should I not be here today, my husband can easily continue from where I left it. My children can actually, they can be inherited by the children.
Yes.
That's how amazing this business is. So, to me, I would 100% recommend this to anybody who is having who is in the same situation as I was at the time. You do not have to work so hard just to make sure that you have a good security for your future, while
Yes.
you can easily do something else, invest that same time, that same resources, that same energy into something that will in the long run pay you for a lifetime.
Wow. It's really amazing listening to you. So you are right
Thank
about
you.
like everything about this business. I want to chip in about our automation, right? This automation, isn't that what frees up time for us? The business has already been built. You just have to what? Just plug in into a system that has already been built. So you don't have to put in much time. The little time you put, okay, and you are just good to go. So this automation, what does it mean? It means like about 90% of the business are being run for you, like it's being run for you, because this is something you don't have to be there to even when someone make inquiry. Sometimes we even have a possibility whereby we will set up an automated messages, right? If you are not around, so that you send this message, and when you are around, then you take care of it. Like it's just incredible. Sometimes you go and sleep, you wake up, and you have someone who has landed in. It's just amazing. Like everything about this business is just incredible, and the connection. Let's talk about the connection. Like literally right now I know so many people from all over the world. It's just incredible,
Mm.
and it feels amazing. Like seriously, it feels amazing because I met people that I never knew because of this business until this business, and we have this connection that it feels like we knew each other before this business, and this is how amazing it can be. Right now, if
Yeah.
you say you are going to a certain country, wow, you know people there who are willing, to even have you as a guest. It's incredible.
Yes, exactly.
It
Yeah.
goes on and on. So this business is really life changing. Is amazing. It is a legacy. It gives you your freedom of time, and it will stabilize your financial situation as well. So if you are not eager to start a business like this, well, I don't know. We are here to inspire people. So hopefully someone will jump aboard. So can you tell us your personal impact, like any impact that you've had since you started this business?
Thank you very much. I did mention that, but I'm going to elaborate on it. Like I said, I used to be someone who would, be like all over the place, to be honest, like, because I'm trying to do so many things at the same time.
So the
But the
same.
kind of the training that we actually got from this being a part of this business is that I was able to develop these skills for myself to organize, um, to become more organized.
Yeah.
Like imagine, okay, for example, we had this time, set up for this business chit chat talk, and I'm able to to attend it alone. That is a personal, it's a personal thing, and it's a personal growth for
Yeah.
me. And I also actually knew, even though I knew that I could actually achieve whatever I want to achieve, but my mindset was only this physical, rigorous, ways of, getting stuff. A
Yeah.
typical example would be, oh, for example, if we're planning to go home for a holiday for 3 weeks next year, I have to start planning today. I have to start working towards it today. And the only way that I knew how to work, towards it is to pick up extra shifts. Okay, and then to pick up extra shifts, and then become very very tight in my with my
Yeah.
spendings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm having a focus. But the truth is, life doesn't really have to be like that. Because
It
what
does.
that did to me then was, in the process of picking up extra shift, I would be physically tired. I
Yeah.
would be emotionally and emotionally drained. That when I come back home, I won't be able to function well as a mom or even as a wife.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
so everything actually suffered. So right now I know that if I am at the moment, I'm already looking at making taking time away with the family, to see the world, to see some part of the world, which is also a thing that is in the business.
Of course.
Okay, so
Yeah.
right now the only way that I have to do it is to to sit down and plan it here,
Yeah.
through one of our income streams.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this now with joy, with kind of a little bit of relief, not because yes, um, it is doable, but unlike before, where I would think that no, I have to pick up extra shifts, I have to do this. So it has actually made me to know that everything that I want to get for myself, anything that I dream to have, I can actually have it, just
Yeah.
by making a little bit of difference in how I set up the, in planning it.
So you are right about that. I resonate with you about the fact that when you want to maybe travel or have something that like going to Africa, for example, going on that holiday is like that for so many of us. It's not just
Yeah.
you. You always have to stop certain things, like no, because like yesterday I had a guest here. I'm going to use him as an example. They normally go on vacations, like at least 3 weeks vacation, and I was asking if this year they were going to go, and he said no. And the reason is because he has to go to Africa somewhere early next year. Do you understand?
Mm.
So because
Yeah.
he has to go to Africa, they have to cut down on certain expenses,
Yeah.
and it's sad, right? Because when it happens this way, you have to start foregoing things that are sometimes they are even a necessity. Let's say maybe your children want something, you can't give it to them because hey, we have to stay keep the money for that holiday.
Exactly.
And with our
Exactly.
business, it's not supposed to be like that because
Yeah.
we have in abundance, right? I mean, five stream
Yeah.
of income. Like
Yeah.
it can settle everything, and you
Yeah.
still have enough, more than enough for that
Yeah.
holiday, and you will
Yeah.
still have enough for saving as well. So,
Yeah.
guys, if this thing doesn't motivate you, I don't know what will. I keep on saying this all the time. We are here, we are real people with real stories, and if you're out there and you really have a strong desire for a change, guys, just hop in. Okay, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. This gives you the opportunity to come into our business community to see what we do, to see everything about the business and make your decision whether it is something for you or not. So I don't know. Thank you so much, my sister. We've had 30 minutes. Like I would like to continue, but I don't
I
want us to
know.
go our viewers. You know, Facebook is all about scrolling. So the only thing I want you to say is, how can someone join us?
Um, um, for somebody to join, they'll be able to, to like if you have your link there, Sister, Sadia,
Yeah.
you can join in through Sister Sadia, link up with Sister Sadia, and then put in your name and then your email address, and then she'll be able to send you, the link, to watch the live webinar. And then if you finish watching the live webinar, which I'm sure you'll be convinced anyway, um, you can then go further, to commit yourself, to join our community, and that will give you a life membership, of that community where you'll be able, to see for yourself if the business is for you, and if it is not, So it's actually, yeah, it's a link up to Sister Sadia on her website, showing there, and then you'll be able to, to move ahead, from there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's link you. If you resonate with Vera as well, because it's about attraction marketing, right? Because
Yeah,
that's how we get people to join us. People who resonate with, some people will say, okay, I resonate more with Sadia. I would like Sadia to be my mentor. And someone will say, I prefer Vera as my mentor. So whoever that you think you resonate with, you just use the person's link to come out and find out about this amazing business that is actually changing people's life. We are growing so fast. Like we are 126,000, and like with some points
yeah,
on it. It's just incredible. Like every time I
yeah.
come here, I talk about the amount, the quantity of people in our community, and it's just growing so fast. It's incredible.
It is.
So,
It is.
wow,
That alone will tell you. Yeah, that alone will tell you that yes, yeah, you should be
how
here
how
really because
amazing and how true this business is. So that is what we have for today, and we've come to the end of today's episode. And I hope, as I said earlier, we've been able to um, because it's all about inspiration, right? We've been able to inspire someone out there to take action, to come and see what this business is doing for people. So thank you so much again, Vera, and our viewers. We really appreciate you. We'll back again.
thank
Bye
you
for
very
today.
much. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for bye bye for now. God bless.